Good morning. On this wonderful day of Elul, the month of Elul, a month which is so special, so powerful, that I cannot just hold back all the secrets there are, the secret power there is in this month, the month of Elul, the month of preparation to the new year. I would like to start with sharing with you a thought of the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shtir Zalman of Liadi. The Alter Rebbe writes in the Tanya concerning what is happening on Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, there is an affluence, there is a blessing for the whole year. All the energy of the new year is completely given on that very, very special day of Rosh Hashanah. And therefore, this light is not a light that ever existed before. It's not something which is recycled or a continuation of the past years, but rather it is a new energy which is completely new. It was never in the world. So this year, when we come to the year 5785, we actually are going to experience something that never happened before. Now, you understand that when you have something coming from heaven, when you have something which is very, very powerful, you need to be able to create a vessel that's going to receive these blessings. Our sages teach us in the Talmud of Beitzah in page 16 that the parnassah, the sustenance of a person, is established on the day of Rosh Hashanah. Everything you are going to make, everything that is going to happen for the whole year in your parnassah and your sustenance is happening on Rosh Hashanah. In other words, I will tell you the following. Imagine you have a company, and this company is working very, very hard. And now it's about to go to the IPO. It's going to go public. When the company goes public, you understand that whoever invested $1, that dollar could actually transform itself into $50 or $100. He invested $1 million, it could be 50 million. Things could happen very, very quickly overnight. But that overnight demands a certain effort from the person and a certain strong belief and confidence that I'm in. I'd like to share with you a story. One of my favorite stories, the story of Rav Shlomo of Karlin. Rav Shlomo of Karlin had a student. And the student came to him one day and said, Rab Shlomo, I feel dry. I feel robotic. I feel absolutely no emotion in my connection with God. When I discovered Chassidut, the secrets of Hasidic philosophy, in the service of Hashem, and it enlightened my service in such a way that I was passionate about everything that I was doing. I was passionate about my prayer. I was passionate about putting on tefillin. I was passionate about my shalom bayit. I was passionate about teaching my children. Everything was done with great enthusiasm. But now, I feel dry. I feel like a robot. I put on tefillin in the morning. Why am I doing this? Because I've been doing it for 15, 20, 30 years. I'm going to continue. I'm going to stop now. And so on and so forth. And slowly but surely, I'm doing things. I'm doing the motions, but I'm not feeling the emotion. Rav Shlomo of Karlin looks at him and says, you think your question is a new question? Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, asked this question before. He said, why do you ask? Why do you ask why the olden days were better than these? It's not from wisdom. You ask this, Sha'al Tazot. So what happens? He tells them a story. He tells them a story of two individuals that had lost a fortune of money. And they decided to go to the president of the community and make a loan for 100,000 rubles. Each one had a year and a half to give back the money. Unfortunately, the first one, when he saw in his bank account 100,000 rubles, he went crazy. Gucci, Mucci, Pucci, right away he went and he started buying and he started going and traveling and spending nice hotels. Look what I have in my bank account. Oh, it's okay, I'll make it. At the end, within 4 or 5 months, he was able to spend all the money. There was nothing left. When he came to the president of the community, they called him. He said, my friend, you're going to have to pay back every penny, you hear me? Why? Because I give you a loan and you take it for granted, you think it's your own. The other gentleman behaved in a completely different fashion. He was much more conservative in that sense. He gave 25,000 rubles to his family. He says, I don't care how you manage, you're going to manage with this. And with the 75, he toiled, he invested, he traveled, he invested again, he made some more profit, he invested again. And he really toiled and made a big effort. After the year passed, he comes back with 100,000 rubles to pay the president of the community, and the president tells him, I don't need it. It's yours. You earned it. You worked for it. You didn't take it for granted. What happened? What happened is that the Rav Shlomo of Karlin tells his student, dear student, 15 years ago, it says, Shlomo HaMelech said, Lama tishal, why do you ask why the olden days were better than these? Ki lo mechochma. It says 15 years ago, you're saying, oh, you were passionate, you had excitement, you had emotion, and so on, so and so forth in every aspect of your service to God. Lo mechochma. It wasn't your wisdom. It wasn't your passion. It wasn't your excitement. It wasn't your emotions. Sha'al tazot. Sha'al tazot could mean you ask this, or it could mean you borrowed this. It was a loan that God gave you. You see, when we start coming closer and doing something good, God sees the effort and He says, okay, I take it as cash. I'm already going to pay the dividends right now. He saw that you started connecting to the Hasidic philosophy and to connecting to Hashem and so on. Right away, He made you feel what it would feel like to be really enthusiastic, to have enthusiasm and passion in the service of Hashem. But you took it for granted. You felt, I feel this connection. I don't have to make any effort. I don't have to spend time studying. I don't have to spend time connecting. I don't have to spend time in my prayer with more intensity and more kavanah, more intention. I don't have to give so much tzedakah. I don't have to do all these things. I already feel it. My friend, it was alone. When we look at the past year, and every year I make this calculation, there's about minimum 80 heartbeats a minute. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. You multiply this by 365 days, that's over 40 million heartbeats. Now, if I were to offer any of you, $1 million to give me 2 or 3 or skip 4 or 5 heartbeats, you would not do it in a heartbeat. That's for sure. You would say, absolutely, I forgo your $4 or $5 million. I forgo everything you're about to give me. I need to live. So really, if you think about it, you got 40 million heartbeats this year. and each one is worth at least $1 million for you, you're a trillionaire, my friend. God gave us heartbeats. He gave us so many breaths of life throughout the whole year. Did we take it as a loan, or did we take it for granted? David HaMelech says, Ki mimcha hakol umiyadcha natnu lach. God, everything is from you, and from your hand we gave it back to you. This reminds me when I was 16, 17 years old in yeshiva in Israel. My father, should live long and be well, used to send me an allowance of $100 Canadian every month. Came his birthday, I would take $40, prepare a nice present. At the time, there was actually a handwriting. You would handwrite a note, buy a card, and I would send him a very nice card, and so he would get there by his birthday. On his birthday, he would get the card, he would get the present. I said, Shai, I'm so touched. Of course, the next month, I had $200 Canadian in my account. It was fantastic. It was worth the return on investment. But that's not the point. The point is, I could have said to my father, Daddy, this month, don't send me $100. Send me 60, buy yourself a present, and I'll send you a card. But there's no nachas here. There's no real pleasure. The real pleasure is you have in your hand, you think it belongs to you, and you understand it doesn't. And you take it from your hand and you give it back to the hand that gave it to you. Ki mimcha kol, everything is from you, and from your hand we gave back to you. How many heartbeats, how many words, how many thoughts, how many actions, how many breaths, how many steps, how much giving have we done, giving back to God? What's extraordinary is that every year when I think about it, every morning when I think about it, God, again you trusted me? Again you trusted me yesterday? Out of that 1,440 minutes, I didn't really maximize everything the way most probably you intended it. But you still trust me that I'm going to continue and do it. Rabbi Munatecha, that's why we say the Modeh prayer. The Modeh prayer is that surrender to Hashem, saying, you know what, Hashem, thank you so much. And this is, my friends, the theme of this month. This month is like a planet, a separate planet in time. This month cannot go in the regular way we behave. We wake up, we have the coffee, we go for the exercise, we come back, we shower, we quickly put on tefillin, take care of the kids, send them to school. No, my friends. 1 second. I'm going to IPO. I'm about to go public on Rosh Hashanah. The more I invest right now, the more dividends I'm going to have. And therefore, I have to sit down and look back. Look back at what happened this past year. And think to myself, what did I accomplish? Take a paper and write down not all the movement that you did, but all that you've accomplished emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, in your thoughts, speech, and action. What did you do? What did you transform? How are you different? Are you the same person? Or have you become more refined? Have you a greater control of you? Do you have a greater control of your anger, of the words that you... Do you have an outlook on life which is more relaxed, with less anxiety? Do you give over to your children a sense of confidence? And therefore, this month is called Elul. Elul. Elul, Aleph Lamed, Vav Lamed. I have my own personal explanation on the word Elul. This is not a classical explanation, but please bear with me. The word Elul is Lamed Aleph, Lamed Vav. Lamed Aleph, Lamed Vav spells the word lo with an Aleph, which means no, non-existent, and spells the word lo with a Vav, which means to exist for. So you have the non-existence and the existence which come together in a month. What does it remind you of? What's something that's an existence that's a non-existence? An existence that's a non-existence is a corner. A corner is very interesting. A corner, at the same time, right, is not this side of the wall. It doesn't belong to this side of the wall, or it doesn't belong to this wall. It belongs to both. But if there's no two walls, there are no corners. The corner exists only because there are two realities coming together. But in order for two realities to come together at the same time, you need to have something which is a non-existence. The corner is a non-existence. The corner is nothing. Because it's nothing, it can become something and actually connect to opposites. Another example of this is what our sages teach us in the Talmud of Brachot and Shabbat concerning Shkiyat HaChama. Shkiyat HaChama is nightfall. Our sages ask the question, when exactly, what is the moment of nightfall? So how long does it take for night to fall? We start our days from the night before. You understand that the daytime tonight till the time of nightfall, it's not Shabbat. The moment it's nightfall, it's already Shabbat. So it's big consequences. You can't light the fire. You can't do certain things. But how long does it take, this period of going from one day to the next? Our sages teach us, Rabbi Yossi says in the Talmud, Keheref Ayin. It's like the blink of an eye. The blink of an eye is so unnoticeable. It's so unassuming. It's like a corner. Only something which is unassuming, like the blink of an eye, like a corner, can connect and be the hinge that's going to be part of the wall and part of the door and permit that opening to happen. Another sage was asked by one of his students, when can I study Greek philosophy? So the rabbi answered him, it says in the verse, V'hagita bo yomam v'layla, you will toil in this Torah day and night. When it's not day and when it's not night, then you can study Greek philosophy. What does that mean? Just tell him he never can study Greek philosophy. But that's not the point. The point is that if you are in a state of date, you live in a certain parameter, or if you're in a state of night, you live in another parameter, you can't study Greek philosophy. It's going to confuse you. But if you yourself are completely erased before the will of Hashem, like a corner is non-existent, and just like the blink of an eye is non-existent, and it's not day or night, then you're able to study other things that will not affect you. The month of Elul is the month where we tap into the non-existence in order to create a new existence. Like the name of my book, to be or to become. That's the question. The question is not to be or not to be. It's to be or to become. What are you going to become? When you go to the ocean and you see a wave, what happens? The water goes back into the seabed, and the further it goes, the bigger wave it's going to create afterwards. Just like with a bow and arrow, the closer and the more you pull it, the further it's going to go. The month of Elul is the month of introspection, when you have to go very deep, mima'amakim, from the depth of your being. Keraticha Hashem and Kol Hashem. In Hayom Yom, the Rebbe shares with us a word, a teaching. He says, this land, like the Baal Shem Tov teaches us, is Eretz Hefetz. The land, the Jewish people are called a cherished land. Now we know that in the earth there are many, many, many treasures. I'm always fascinated by the earth. There's so many treasures. You go inside the earth, you're going to find precious stones. You're going to find water in the earth. And from the earth, whatever you plant in it, it's going to grow. A few years ago, I took my family to the botanical gardens in New York. And I was amazed. I was telling them, look at the creation of Hashem. So many different types of flowers. So many different types of colors. So many different types of textures, sizes. It's all from the same earth. You, the Jewish people, God says, Tiuli Eretz Hefetz, you are a cherished land. You can make the greatest things grow. But water, there's at the depth of the earth, there is water. The difference is that in some parts of the earth it's much deeper. In some parts of the earth you can reach it much faster because it's closer to the surface. So what does a person need? He needs to dig. And if he's going to dig and make the effort of digging, he will get there. But what will make him dig? The will. If a person is able to awaken the will to be able to dig, he will reach the water. During this month, it's time to dig inside of ourselves. Re-examine not only our actions, but what are the glasses with which we look at the world, we look at our reality. Why are we so nervous sometimes? Why do you have this anxiety sometimes? Why aren't you fully confident in yourself to go forward and to do what your dreams are? To accomplish your dreams. This month is the month in which Admor HaZaken says, the 13 attributes of mercy shine. And he gives an example, a beautiful, beautiful parable, in which he says that the king, which is normally in his palace, comes to the field. And anybody that wants to greet the king can go see him. He'll show him a face which is smiling and a beautiful countenance and receive them with open arms, with a pleasant countenance. What is Admor HaZaken teaching us? What is that connected to the month of Elul? The month which we are, the king is in the field till he goes to his palace. What's a field? A field is exactly that. A field is the place where you plow and then you plant the seeds. The seeds rots. Lo, you completely rot. You erase yourself. You're completely humbled by all the kindnesses that God gave you the whole year. And then it grows to becoming a fruit-bearing tree. The field is a place of hard work. We spend so much time making sure the house is beautiful, the car is clean, that we have the best clothing. What about the soul? When is the last time you invested in learning more Torah, to know about your soul, to connect it with Source? When is the last time you made a kviyut, a time to connect in prayer in a way that you're so involved that nothing exists, as if you were looking at social media or Instagram with complete focus, oblivious to everything around you? When is the last time you had that intimate relationship with God? This is the month. This is the month to change the order of things and say, you know what? 1,440 minutes in a day, God entrusted me with so many blessings. He gave me a child. He gave me a family. He gave me my health. We don't have to look very far. Look at all the tragedies that happened this year. Look at all the difficulty and suffering that happened this year. It's one thing to know about it and to stay well informed on this website and this video and that video. What did you do to connect and to elevate the whole world to a state where Hashem's presence is closer to us, to protect you? It's one thing to feel bad for the soldiers, feel bad for our brothers in Israel, which live in a trauma, a constant trauma with everything that's happening. What is important in your life? What are you teaching your children? Are you teaching them? Are you investing in them? How are you growing personally? How are you growing in your marriage? How are you bringing family purity and holiness in your house? What are the words that you're using? What are the noises that we can hear when you come into your house? Are there 3 TV sets or 5 different cell phones being activated with each one in his own little world, polluting his mind with ideas which have nothing to do with him? What have you done to give back to the community? By the way, I'm not rebuking anybody. It's just my own introspection. I'm saying according to the power that Hashem gave us, we can for a full month say, my daily routine is going to change this month. I'm going to take half an hour, go on Chabad.org or whatever website you want, and listen to a class every day for half an hour. I'm going to take the time to pray. And I want to tell you there's something beautiful in this mashal, in this parable, that Admor HaZaken is giving us. The Alter Rebbe says the king is in the field and he looks at everyone with a smile and with a wonderful countenance, and he receives everybody in a pleasant way. Why? What is the purpose of that? How does that illustrate that God's 13 attributes of mercy are here? There was a great rabbi by the name of Rav Shlomo Rodomsk. He was a very, very holy tzaddik, righteous, holy Jew. And one day, as he was sitting at what's called a tish, he was sitting with his chassidim around him, and they were all saying L'chaim and singing, and he was sharing words of Torah. Suddenly, a person of very bad reputation, comes into the room. Rabbi Shlomo Rodomsk calls him over, smiles at him, shows him a beautiful face, sits him next to him, and gives him so much attention. Everybody's whispering. Doesn't the Rodomski Rebbe, know that this man has a bad reputation? Can he not see that? A few days passed, and the assistant to Rab Shloime came to him and said, Rab Shloime, I saw you were Mekarev, you brought close this man. Don't you know? Rab Shloime said, when his father died, he said, God opened my eyes and I was able to see everything, thoughts, speech, and action of everyone. Yesterday I saw this person and I realized he sinned. And that other person used language which wasn't proper. And the other person's, I was getting just get away from me. I don't want to be close to anybody. I said, is this my function really? So I turned to God and I said, Hashem, help me. Take away that vision from my eyes. Show me once a person repairs himself, does teshuvah, returns and reveals his true potential. What does he look like? And from that moment on, whenever I see a person, I don't see what everybody sees. I don't see the tattoos. I don't see the earrings. I don't see the haircut. I don't see it all. I just see the beautiful soul, that beautiful treasure which is at the bottom of the earth. And I smile at it. What happens when somebody smiles at you? When somebody compliments you? When you look at your child and you say to your child, wow, I'm so proud of you. Or your child says, Mommy, you're so beautiful. Daddy, you're so intelligent. You're so smart. Daddy, you're so kind. What does that do for you? That smile is reflective. Shlomo HaMelech teaches us that it reflects and it actually brings out from the depths of your soul, the depths of your being, it brings it out, all that positivity. The king is in the field. God is looking at every single one of us. And it's true, we might have disappointed ourselves, what doesn't matter? Now, during this month, he's looking at us, and he is looking at us at our best. At our best. I heard yesterday, I forgot the name of the football player that was the slowest football player ever. And he became the fastest football player. How did he go from being the slowest to the fastest? He said, while everybody in the crowd was seeing him run very slow, his mother was in the crowd. She could see her in the crowd cheering him on. Yes, you're the fastest, you're the quickest. She saw something nobody else saw, and therefore she revealed that in him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God Almighty, is looking at every single one of us. And he's seeing giants. He is seeing giants with a tremendous potential. Potential to give, to do, to connect. My friends, don't waste this month. Whatever social media you're watching, cut it at least to half. Use that time to bond with your children, to have real discussions, deep discussions, to bond with your spouses, to bond with yourself, to bond with God, to do something for your community, to give more of yourself, be more of yourself. And you will see how the investment you make during this month will pay back in a way which you can't even imagine, in blessings of children, healthy children, of health, good life, sustenance, joy, and all the things that we wish for one another. I would like to conclude with the blowing of the shofar.